Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. Please help yourself to breakfast sponsored by the Maron family for Zechem Nishmas Ruvain Beim Mordechai Meron. And Good Yantif, it's Tu B'Av. So Tu B'Av may not be big on the Jewish calendar, but maybe it should be, because we just commemorated Tisha B'Av, and actually Tu B'Av is the seventh day. It's the end of the Shiva period. It's a new beginning. In fact, the Mishnah said in the times of the base of Mikdash, when the temple stood, this day and also Yom Kippur was the happiest and most festive days of the year, where girls used to put on white garments and used to dance, and there used to be a time to make shidduchim. That's why Tu B'Av is for shidduchim. But there are 5 reasons as to why Tu B'Av is considered a yontif, and some of them have to deal with marriage. The first one is that what happened was that when Menel Salavcha, when the Salavcha died, his daughters wanted a piece of land of Israel, and its only land was attributed to the men, given to the men. So God said that the daughter of Tzalafcha could also have a piece in the land of Israel. However, since, the concern was that if they're going to get a piece of land, they marry somebody from a different tribe, the property would revert to the different tribe, and Menashe would lose some of its property. So therefore, they were suggested they only should marry within their tribe, which means the dating pool was very much restricted. But on this day, the ban was taken off. They could marry anybody they wanted to marry from any tribe, so the dating pool increased on this day. Also on this day, the tribe of Binyamin was reintegrated, permitted to marry to one another. There was an incident in Shoftim with a concubine and Giva, with a traveling Levite, with a concubine. They took advantage of the woman, they killed her, and all the tribes were ganged up against Binyamin, because Binyamin did not want to give the perpetrators of the crime. And this day, all the people involved in the crime were no longer alive, so therefore they were reintegrated to the Jewish people, so that was a source of great joy of this day. Also on this day, remember, for 38 years when the Jews were in the desert, after the sin of the spies, every year on Tisha B'Av they used to go and lie in the graves, and a certain amount of people died. And this year, by the 15th of the month, they were able to determine that there were no more deaths, that the decree of all those that sinned with the spies was all over. So that's another reason cause a celebration. Also Beitar, jumping up in history, remember the Bar Kokhba revolt, which took place at least 50 years after the destruction of the temple. Bar Kokhba was a mighty general. For 5 years he held off the army, the Roman army. They had to take troops from Britain to crush the Bar Kokhba revolt. They went to Beitar. They were slaughtered in Beitar, and the Romans would not allow them to be buried. However, on this day in Tu B'Av, they were allowed to be buried, and in fact, their bodies were intact. We even make a bracha and benching. And finally, 2 other things. The centuries were removed. Remember, the kingdom of Israel was divided into 2. Kingdom of Judea, and what happened was that they were not allowed to go to one another. They worship idols. On this day, the centuries that were removed from the second kingdom was removed, so they were able to integrate. Again, it's a question of integration, of getting people together, unity, marriage, all takes place. And finally, the wood chopping for the altar was completed on this day. You no longer were able to chop wood for the altar. This was the cutoff point, cutoff day. This also caused a celebration. Have a wonderful day. Have a great Yontif, a wonderful Tu B'Av.